Hey folks, this is Joe Miller from Reckless Kelly with part 3 of our continuing question and answer series. Thanks for having me. Nobody ever wants to know anything from the bass player, so I'm really kind of honored to be here. The first 2 questions today come from Kelly K, who asks, was it a tough transition coming from Back Porch Mary to Reckless Kelly? And what was the process like trying out for Reckless Kelly? Yeah, this was some time ago, so it's a little difficult to remember. But little backstory from late 2001 through May of 2012, I played bass guitar and upright bass in a band called Back Porch Mary. That's played upward of 200 shows a year, I know, at one point in time, and we would go anywhere, and we would go from Minnesota all the way to Texas for the next gig. It was crazy times, and I knew that that band was going to be playing our final shows in May of 2012, and I knew that for about 4 or 5 months. Had no real clue what was going to become of me or my music career after that. Just kind of figured that was probably going to be the end of it. Well, lo and behold, about 2 or 3 weeks before those last Back Porch Mary gigs, Mike, my lead singer from that band, gave me a shout and said, hey, thought you might be interested to know that there's an opening for a bass player in Reckless Kelly. And the fact of the matter is, folks, since about May of 1998, well, Reckless has been probably my favorite Austin band, and there's been a lot of great bands from Austin, so that's saying something to me. Just one man's opinion, but don't tell those guys, but I think they're pretty awesome. So yeah, I was in fact interested, and Mike said, I hope you don't mind, but I went ahead and sent Cody all our CDs, and maybe you'll get a shot at this. He's like, just coincidentally, Mike and Willy Braun, who you all know and love, we're going on a little bromantic vacation to watch some Red Sox baseball. And Mike said, look, man, I'll see maybe if I can put a bug in his ear, maybe you can get a tryout or something like that. He's like, I'm not going to give him the hard sell, but, maybe something will become of it. Well, that took place, and it was something like about 12 or so days before I actually got on the bus with Reckless. I got a set list of about 27, 28 songs and had about 12 days to learn them while I was also preparing for the last couple of Back Porch Mary gigs. And I literally was on stage in Tulsa, Oklahoma on a Saturday night with Back Porch Mary, came back to Texas and was on a stage with Reckless the following Tuesday in St. Louis, Missouri. So that transition was just a whirlwind. It was the 10, 12 days, whatever it was, leading up to playing with Reckless. That was a bit hectic. It took a little bit of toll on my mind, I suppose, just because I'm like, if it doesn't work out with Reckless Kelly now, I'm probably done, but I was, of course, grateful to have a chance to get to play bass with my favorite Austin band. And what was that tryout process like? Well, if you can roll together Texas football 2-a-day practices, spring training, the Ironman triathlon, fraternity hell week, naked and afraid, but with underwear. Yeah, whew, it was rough, man. To hear Jay Naz tell it, it was a bit unorthodox though, because what I did was I got on the bus with Reckless and did a run of somewhere around 15 shows with those guys. And up and down the East Coast, as I recall, and just tried to play the songs the best I could every night. And after that run, they're like, "Hey, can you do a couple more gigs?" And I'm like, "Yeah, of course I can." And after that, it was a couple of more gigs, and it was actually the entire summer of 2012, from May until finally in September, on a day off, the guys took me aside and said, "Oh, hey, we were talking, do you want the gig?" So that's how that went. Thanks, Kelly. Jamie K asked the next couple of questions. The first one being, are there any other instruments you would like to learn how to play? Yeah, actually, this one. I want to shred on this thing. It's a violin uke. I think you're supposed to play it with a bow. Maybe. I was thinking it was a bowed psaltery, but I guess I'm wrong. It's a violin uke, and yeah, you'll hear my solo record with that real soon. No, I would really like to become more proficient with the bow on the upright bass. I would like to become more proficient at the fretless bass guitar, which is a pretty challenging instrument for me. I used one on Long Night Moon on the song Be My Friend in Real Life. Maybe that's the one time I get to play fretless on a Reckless record, I don't know. But I'd like to get better at that. I'd love to mess around with 8-string and 12-string basses just for fun. I don't know the practicality in an Americana band, but it would be fun. I've always wanted to know how to play the pedal steel too, but I don't think you're going to see me starting that anytime soon. I'll talk about a couple of instruments that I used to play in an upcoming question. And Jamie also asks, whose idea was it to do the Willy Joe lean on stage? I'm not sure how long we've been doing that. I really think Willy wants to see if he can knock me over some night, but it's not going to happen, Pard. I'm an oak. I'm bigger than you, man. You're not going to knock me over. I'm sure we invented that move. I'm sure that's ours. Nobody did that before us. I've seen a lot of people do it after us, though. But I don't know. I'll give Willy credit for that one. I think I was just standing there minding my own and trying to hold him up. So there you go. Thanks, Jamie. Our next question comes from Dave T, who asks, what is your favorite cover that Reckless Kelly plays? That's not fair, man. There's not just one. No, there's not. As of the beginning of this whole pandemic, I'd have to say one that I really enjoyed playing as much as any of them, just because it's fun and it cooks, is Get Out of Denver by Bob Seger, which, full disclosure, we learned from a Dave Edmunds record. That's just a lot of fun to play. I love hearing Willy and Cody sing together. It reminds me of the Everly Brothers. It's just, that one's a lot of fun. And looking at some of the last set list before the world shut down, I'm also seeing one that always gets me, and that's Windfall, the Sunvolt song off of the album Trace. Cody does a great job of singing that song. I just like playing that one because that was a life-changing record to me. Really kind of hit me to what the whole alternative country thing of the time was. There have been so many great songs. I know I love doing Always a Friend by Alejandro Escovedo. My Love Will Not Let You Down by Bruce Springsteen is one of my favorite ones. Sigh, Cry, Almost Die by the Everly Brothers, and German Motorcycle by our buddy Corb Lund are fun ones to play because lets me play a little bit of slap style upright bass, which is fun for me and not something I do much of anymore. I'm glad we play these covers. Willy does a great job with picking these things out. I'd also be very remiss if we've done whole sets of Tom Petty shows, you know, Tom Petty covers. I think my contribution to that was Listen to Her Heart. That's my favorite Petty song, and I think I got that on the set list. Two Gunslingers is a killer song, and playing Top of the World just gives me chills. The band also did an entire album of Pinto Bennett covers before I got here, and I love playing I'll Hold the Bottle, You Hold the Wheel. It's just any honky-tonk shuffle like that's a blast to play. Pure Quill's also just a killer song, and Pinto is an Idaho treasure, so getting to play his stuff's always fun too. That's about as good as I think I can do for you, Dave. Oh man, Detroit to Buffalo by Barbara O'Keeffe is a little gem we play every now and then. I love that one. All of them are fun. Thanks, man. Rich S wants to know, what are the types of basses you have played, and which one is your favorite? I played all sorts of basses, just because I've been at it a while. When I was much younger, I tried stuff like active basses, 5-string basses, and as I got older, I went back to what I started out on, and that is the Fender Precision bass. That's probably my favorite type of bass. When we recorded our current project, American Girls and American Jackpot, I used 4 basses to do my tracks on those records. 3 of them were Fender Precisions. Coincidentally, the 4th was a Fender Jazz bass. What you see me playing on stage is a Gamble Guitar Works Fender Precision bass replica. This has parts from some of my other favorite basses I've owned. It has the skinny A neck, like that 78P bass I learned how to play on. And it has a beautiful Fiesta Red body, which was inspired by this bass, which is probably, yeah, my favorite of them all. This is Pinky. It is a 1959-1960 hybrid. This is probably my favorite bass that I own, and it's why I love Fender Precision basses. Some people don't think they're very versatile, but yet somehow they seem to work for anything and everything. Just a great bass, and Clarence Leo Fender changed the world when he came up with this thing. Another one of my favorite P basses that you see me playing if you're in some place like, say, Steamboat or Key West or any place I've flown to, say Idaho. This is a Fender Mike Dirnt from Green Day model precision bass. I've kind of rat-rotted this thing, and it's kind of had a crummy paint job, so I stripped the paint off of it. And what I've been trying to do with this thing is kind of make it resemble the bass of one of my heroes, the late, great Kelly Looney of Steve Earle and the Dukes. Saw him playing an old Fender Tele bass that had been modified with this split Fender Precision bass pickup, a humbucker, if you will. And ever since I saw him playing that 20-some years ago, I've kind of wanted to have something, and that's slowly what this bass is becoming. So this is what you see me fly with, but I'm a Fender P bass guy through and through, and it's what works for me. As far as the upright, I think I mentioned I play a King double bass earlier, made by Jason Burns, currently out of England, formerly out of Orange County, by way of Louisiana or Texas, somewhere in there. I use a Blast Colt pickup on that thing. It is a passive pickup that kind of picks up the vibrations of the bridge and strings and body. Works pretty well for me, and for what it's worth, I like Ampeg amplifiers. I think old Fenders just sound incredible through them, and that's kind of how I get my sound. Thanks, Rich, for asking me something I actually know a little bit about. Ben R. asks, do you ever get tired or bothered by talking to drunk people like me, in parentheses, after shows? What a great question, Ben. Well, maybe we do. It usually depends on how much I've had to drink myself as to how well I can tolerate a person who's on the inebriated side of things. Me being kind of on that same side of things might actually help. I'd be lying if I said it never bothered me, but come on, man. We're Reckless Kelly. We invented Sorry for Partying. We also invented the key of G, fun fact. Nah, keep coming out to the shows. Keep having fun. Keep talking to us, man. Thanks for your question. And B says, tell us something fun about your hometown. All right, well, my hometown is Burdett, Kansas. Population 247. Salute! Burdett, Kansas was founded in 1876. It is in Pawnee County, Kansas. It is a farming community. It's where your food's grown, kids, and that's what I grew up doing, was raising wheat and cattle on a farm 10 miles north of Burdett. Now, probably what Burdett is most famous for is Dr. Clyde W. Tombaugh, discoverer of the planet Pluto. This is his book, Out of the Darkness, the Planet Pluto. It says it's a planet right here. I don't want to hear from any Pluto haters. Here, this is an official solar system. See, it's right here, Pluto. And yes, Dr. Tombaugh actually had a telescope out on the family farm and would look at the night sky as a young man, and the night sky outside of Burdett, Kansas, north of there, is vast and fascinating and beautiful. And I remember nights when I was a kid where, you know, every light you saw, every noise you heard late at night was natural, you know. Nothing man had made was casting any light into the sky or polluting the noise in any way, shape, or form. It's a beautiful place to me. It's home. You know, to anybody who says that Pluto is a dwarf planet that's just part of the Kuiper Belt, well, I'm going to take that Kuiper Belt and I'm going to whip your bottom with it, okay? It's a planet, so there will be no haters. Burdett was also the former home of Pawnee Heights Elementary School and Pawnee Heights Junior High School, which had previously been Burdett High School. The high school building's no longer there, but the elementary school and the fabulous gymnasium are still there. And Pawnee Heights is now located over 7 miles down the road in Roselle, Kansas. And just for fun fact, a couple of the famous alumni of Pawnee Heights include Olympian and K-State track star Christian Smith, and Texas Christian Horned Frogs football coach Gary Patterson is also a Pawnee Heights alumni. So if you're ever passing through Kansas, stop by on K156 and see us back in good old Burdett. Alan G wants to know, being from Kansas, are you a K-State or a KU fan? And what about my allegiances to the Royals and Chiefs? Well, I am very happy for the Chiefs. I'm a bandwagon Chiefs fan, as I have been my entire life. My favorite professional football team is actually the Dallas Cowboys. Not everybody's going to love me for that one, but I'm not a liar. So stay tuned for the reveal on the rest of this question. Well, Alan, if all the purple didn't give it away, I am a big K-State Wildcats fan. Why, heck, I'm even an alumni. I graduated with a Bachelor of Science degree in agricultural journalism, which makes me qualified to be like Les Nessman from WKRP in Cincinnati. I love all things K-State. I've been a fan of the color purple since I was a little kid because of it, and because Miller's from Burdett, go to K-State, I did. Love that school. Love that town. Manhattan, Kansas is still one of my favorite places on earth, and I'm always grateful to get to go back and play a show there when we have the chance. And love my cats. Alan, I am also happy to say I am a fan of the Kansas City Royals in a big way. Baseball's my favorite sport. The Royals are my favorite team. I'd say I've been on the bandwagon for the Royals probably ever since about, they had some kid, what was his name? Oh yeah, George Brett. Yeah, as long as I can remember, I've loved the Royals and I've loved baseball. Probably helped me get the Reckless Kelly gig. Here's a picture of one of the best days of in my life, rather. Take a look at that, kids. That's my band, Reckless Kelly. The guys in blue, yeah, that's me and Hall of Famer George Howard Brett. My favorite ball player of all time. Someday I will get to play the national anthem at Kauffman Stadium. On that particular day, one of the best gigs of my life, we played an exhibition game between the Royals and the Texas Rangers at the Alamo Dome in San Antonio. So I played the national anthem in front of George Brett. Ned Yost actually hollered "good job" at us as we walked by the dugout. So I know we did a good job that day. That was fun. That was in 2016. KC was there with the World Series trophy. It was awesome. God bless the Royals. I think this is going to be our year. Our last question comes from Emily A., who wants to know, has touring with the band crossed off any cities or locations that were on my bucket list? And the answer to that is absolutely it has. Getting to see America from a tour bus is what makes my world go round. I've played in about 42 or 43 states now. I'd love to play in all 50. Somehow, some way, someday I will. But let's talk about some of the places that have been crossed off already. A lot of them are venues. It's just, I want to play here very specifically at this place. The first one that I'll mention is the Cotillion Ballroom in Wichita, Kansas. Just because I remember going to see shows there when I was a kid, you dream of getting to be the guy up on the stage. I remember seeing Chris Ledoux there when I was a kid and just really hoping that somehow, someday I'd get the chance to be there. And I actually had made it there a couple times before Reckless Kelly. Once opening for Reckless Kelly with Back Porch Mary. I also remember opening for Cross Canadian Ragweed when I was in Back Porch. And just always wanted to get a chance to headline there. And it doesn't disappoint when I get to go play at the Cotillion. Another place back in Kansas, kind of the same thing, would be the Wareham Opera House in Manhattan. And I remember somewhere back around 1994-ish when some friends of ours with a sound company were like, hey man, we need your PA. We've got Kansas playing down at the Wareham and we need your PA. We thought Kansas was going to be playing through our PA, which was pretty sweet. Turns out they were using our entire PA rig just for their side fill monitors so they could hear themselves. But we got to see 2 Kansas shows out of that deal. And I really remember, just thinking, wow, this would be something else if I ever got to play here. And sold the place out with Reckless Kelly. Only took 20-some years later to get that done. But I've always had fond memories of that. I'd be remiss if I didn't mention Ireland. One of the most beautiful places on earth. I've been fortunate enough to go to Ireland now twice with Reckless Kelly. The people are wonderful. The food is wonderful. The Guinness is incredible over there, believe me. I'll go back anytime you want me to, so it's always going to be on the bucket list because I'll go again. Germany as well. Had a great time going there in 2019. Spent the better part of 2 weeks over there in Germany and got to do one show in Switzerland and really enjoyed seeing that culture and, you know, playing for the folks over there, and getting overseas, being an international touring artist, you know. I have to mention, you know, a lifelong dream of playing the Grand Ole Opry. Anybody who loves country music and plays country music, that's, you know, kind of got to be the summit. And getting to play there back in 2019 did not disappoint. The folks there were so nice. I mean, my gosh, just you're literally talking to the heroes that have inspired you, and you're on the bill with them. That was definitely one of the best bucket list items, but maybe the best, Chalice, Idaho. Before I got with Reckless, I had been hearing about the Braun Brothers reunion and what a great festival it was and still is. I've never seen a bad band at the BBR. And the view from the stage is pretty breathtaking. I'll tell you that much, folks. The whole state of Idaho is pretty, but Chalice is a pretty special place. I would say good things about Stanley too, but I kind of want to keep that a secret for myself. Don't go there. Stay away from Stanley, folks, and we'll forget I ever said that. But thanks for that question, Emily, and thank you guys for having me.